By the time he was in the 3rd grade at Fort Worth's West Handley Elementary, Johnny Sun knew he wanted to be a doctor. Friends from Eastern Hills High School remembered Johnny as a bright, competitive young man who worked hard for above-average grades, but also knew how to have a good time. Then a chain of events began which would alter his life. In 1965, his younger brother Landon committed suicide. 4 years later, Sun was elected president of his freshman class at the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston. But like others at that time, he experimented with drugs.
I was a social user of marijuana. I've used LSD 3 times. The real stigma from the drug was the fact that people heard that John Sun had taken LSD, and from that point on, I became, anything that I did or said was basically related, well, he's on the LSD. They got away from the personal problems that I was having with some individuals.
One individual was psychiatry professor Dr. Robert White. White gave Sun a failing grade, and he was told he would have to repeat his entire 3rd year of medical school.
He said that I was dangerous to him and to other people. He signed an order which I was arrested.
After a court hearing, Sun was involuntarily committed to UT's John Seeley Hospital in Galveston, where he was given almost 200 electroshock and insulin shock treatments.
I was shocked one time, 12 times in one day. In regressive therapy, you shock someone so much that it becomes a punitive type thing. You regress them to an infantile stage where they can't feed themselves, they can't walk, you can't talk, you're just regressed.
The treatments were administered by Dr. Winston Martin, another UTMB faculty member.
Winston Martin was an alcoholic. As alcoholics frequently do, they take their frustrations and their problems out on other people. And he did that with me with his treatments of me.
Former colleagues and students remember Winston Martin as being a zealot about electroshock. One former student recalls a rumor that Dr. Martin persuaded 2 resident students to strap him in and give him a shock treatment. Winston Martin was last seen alive at a Galveston bar on Christmas Eve 1976. A human foot later found in the Galveston Yacht Basin was identified as Martin's. To this day, no one knows for sure what happened to him. Martin was declared legally dead in 1982. Sun filed 2 lawsuits against the Titus Harris Clinic and UTMB, charging negligence.
The numbers of shock treatments that he got would have been considered by excessive. It's possible that John Sun received the last insulin shock treatment that was given in the free world.
Last month, Sun settled out of court against UTMB for $100,000. The state refuses to comment on the case, citing patient privilege. But the Attorney General's office says that in the settlement, the state admitted no liability and still doesn't.
Well, in my opinion, there's not enough money in the world to compensate John Sun for what he went through.
Today, Sun lives in Chakota, Oklahoma. For 10 years, the focal point of his life has been seeking justice. In settling his court cases, he's foreclosed the possibility of any future legal action. Now his future is uncertain.
Well, I have a farm, and I do a lot of gardening. I do a lot of hunting, fishing, quite a bit of riding. I want to practice medicine. I hope that I can do that.
Mike Capps, Channel 8 News.